Someone tells you they want to go to the gym and they want to lose weight, but yet every fucking day you see them eating cheeseburgers and cake and ice cream and milkshakes, and they're getting fatter and fatter every day. What outcome's in their mind? It's not getting in shape. So someone could tell you that they want something, but it's their actions that tell you the truth. Now you got to look at your own actions. You say you want more money, but what are you doing to make more money? You say you want to get in better shape, but what are you doing to get in better shape? Your actions determine what you're actually focused on. And if I focus on what I want, that's where I'll go. When you're driving a car, where you look is where you go. The other day I'm driving the car and some fucking bullshit happened. I have a truck on my right. There's an RV on my left, and a car in front of the RV cuts me off and hits another car in front of me. And now there's an accident. So they're hitting each other. I'm slamming on the brakes. I can't go right. I can't go left. Now there's a car behind me that's not paying attention. He's going to rear end me. So I'm like, well, what the fuck am I going to do? So I'm slamming on the brakes. I'm waiting for the exit where this RV passes me because I'm braking faster than he is. So I'm looking at the exit and I move, and then boom, this car goes by me. It would have literally been a massive accident, like massive. And I happened to miss it because I was focused on the exit, not on the accident, right? But my brain is trying to look at the accident, and I'm like, no, I need to find a way out. Now, whether I found the way out or not, who knows? But the best opportunity to find a way out is to focus on it. A lot of people are focused on similar to this accident, you're focused on the fact that you're not going to make your bills. You're focused on the fact that business is going to fail. You're going to get rejected. No one's going to buy your stuff. It's not going to work out for you. You're going to get fucked over. You're going to get scammed. Or, I just can't do it right now because my money is held up inside of the asset. I can't liquidate the money. Whatever is the belief in your head, okay? These are all things that you're focusing on that aren't going to help you today. You must find something today that gives you cash in your pocket. Problem my parents had in 2008, we had millions of dollars in net worth, but you can't go to the grocery store and be like, look, we got millions of dollars in real estate, let us buy some groceries. It doesn't work. You need cash flow. Cash is king. People say cash is trash. Yeah, if you hold on to cash, it's trash. But you need cash flow. You take cash flow, you buy things with it. That's what you need. In order to be effective, you must find an outcome that you want. The bigger the outcome, the more productive and effective your action will be. Elon Musk mentions this, one of the richest men in the entire world. He says, take your 6-month goal, or 10-year goal, and bring it down to 6 months. What he's saying is, think bigger, and therefore you become more effective. You'd be shocked as to how productive someone can be when they raise their standard. Employees come to me, my sales team comes to me, and I raise the standard massively. I tell them, this is the minimum sales you must make. And all of a sudden, they're each having record months. Whereas when they were working for other companies and they come to me, they're selling 30%, sometimes 20% of what they're selling for me because the standard is lower. I higher the standard, the expectation goes up, their work ethic goes up, and their thought process changes, and now they find a way to make it happen. You must increase the standard. Without a higher standard for yourself, without a bigger outcome, without focusing on that, you'll never achieve it. Oftentimes, I find people fail not because they didn't have the potential or the skill set or the talent, but because they were focused on the wrong things, right? How many times have we met people that are absolutely incredible, but they're maybe not rich, or they're incredible and they just can't hold down a relationship? Well, what happens? Their focus is off. That's the main thing I can tell you. Why does a relationship seem amazing at the beginning and then get shitty later on? Because at the beginning, you're focused on making it work. Later on, you're focused on how it's going to end. If I focus on how it's going to end, it'll end. If I'm focused on how things are going to fail, I'll fail. If I'm focused on success, locked in like a laser, that's all I'm going to get. Most people don't know how to focus on what they want because they're completely programmed to focus on what they don't want. And unfortunately, it's not what you logically, consciously decide you want. It's what you unconsciously are programmed to go get that you will create. So you have to focus on what you want enough to where it becomes a habit, to where it becomes something that you think about on your day-to-day. Most people don't think about their day-to-day, and they're just kind of walking through the day, oh yeah, I'll eventually be successful. The more specific you get, the more intentional you are with this outcome. Here's the amount I need to make by this date. How am I going to make it happen? Like if your bills were due, if your life depended on it, right? Really quick, show of hands. If you had to make an extra $200,000 this month because someone you cared about where your own life was on the line, who would go make it happen? Everyone I always ask this question to raises their hand. It's not that you can't do it, it's that you don't have enough of a reason to go do it because you haven't set the intention, right? A reason to do it is to not die. Fine. Your family, you care about them, you don't want them to be sick. That's enough of a reason. But what's another reason? I'll give you a perfect example. I was at dinner the other day. It was my friend's birthday. And I went to their house. They have this teppanyaki table, like, where they do like a show and they flip the food in front of you and all this cool stuff. And I happened to be sat next to someone, and I started talking to them, and he was talking to me about his story and his life, because I told him what I do. And he said he saw Tony Robbins, and Tony Robbins really changed his life because when, 10 years ago, he had a daughter. She was 4 years old. She got cancer, and he was in the hospital with her for 8 months, and they didn't have the money to pay for it. And he was every month, every time the bill was there, he would find a way to make the money. He would find a way to pay it off. He'd find a way to keep her treatment going, which kept her life, a little bit longer, about 6 months longer. And now they do decent, and he donates as much money as possible to Children's Hospital because he has that part of him where, he's like, I have to do this for her. Now, I was talking to him, and I said, well, why aren't you making even more money? And he said, well, I don't know. Right? He said, a part of me died when she died. And I said, no, you just haven't found a new reason. You haven't found a new reason. So this was last month. I happened to go to her sister's birthday 2 days ago. He was there again. And he said, what you told me last month really resonated. I said, what did I tell you? He said, you told me that I don't have enough of a reason. I found a reason the next day. And I'm like, well, what's the reason? He's like, well, I have 2 other kids and I want to make sure that they have an amazing life. I said, okay. He's like, well, I wanted to tell you that this was a record month for me. I've never made this much money my whole life. And I find that really fascinating. Why did I want to share that with you guys? Because something as simple as a shift in focus, a shift in a reason, a shift in, hey, I have a reason to go make the money, will go make you the money. If you have a reason, right? I gave myself reasons by saying, I can't afford this car. I just signed a contract. I need to go make the money. I can't afford this house. I just signed a contract. I need to go make the money, right? Because the consequence would be my credit would be fucked. The reward would be that I now elevate myself to the next level very quickly, right? So you have to give yourself a reason. You can give yourself a reason by throwing your hat over the fence and actually causing some fire where you're standing to make you move, or you could be intelligent enough to say, okay, I'm not moving, let me go get things going, right? Now, I'm not saying this here to motivate you. I'm telling you the fact of the matter is, if you think big enough, you're going to be excited. How many of us would be more excited to make $10,000 tomorrow versus making $5 million in 2 months? Well, I'd be more excited to make $5 million. Holy shit, I'm making $5 million. I just have to get up and go work. Now, if I want to go work and I'm going to make $5 million, I'm going to get up every day. So why do I lose motivation? Tell you why. 2 things happen. I stop focusing on the outcome. And why do I stop focusing on the outcome? Because I stop believing that it's true, that it's going to happen. I lose confidence in that outcome. Something happened. I got rejected. I failed. I didn't get someone to like me or whatever happened, right? Something happened that causes my focus now to shift to the negative outcome. You guys can relate to this in this experience. If you've had a relationship and you've broken up with them, there was a moment where you had an argument or a fight. They did something that you either misinterpreted or didn't like or felt disrespected or something that shifted your focus now. And now that your focus shifted, your emotions towards it shifted. You stopped putting in the same effort. You stopped being as loving, stopped being as caring. They started to reciprocate, and over time, the relationship ended. The relationship you have with people is similar to the relationship you have with your goals. Your goals and life may not be fair. Things will happen to you that are not necessarily supportive of the outcome. You weren't expecting some random bill to show up, and all of a sudden, there's this massive bill you didn't expect you have to pay. And now you have to pay it. You're like, well, what the fuck? What the hell? Where'd this come from? Oh, wait. Where'd it come from? Well, it happens. Things happen. I could either be present and be like, okay, let's get reoriented, get back in focus, get back in momentum, or I could just stop. And I could start to notice myself focusing on the other thing. When I talk about the emotional compass that I taught you guys, right? What you're doing is when something negative arises and you notice your shift in focus, your shift on the outcome, you're noticing the strategy changing. The strategy that would get you there is that excitement, that motivation, the reason to go make the money. When my focus shifts, what happens? I lose it. I lose the motivation. I lose the strategy. I change the actions. I start acting in ways that actually ruin it, not make it. And some people have a ceiling. Your standards are low. So you start to make some money. You're like, I'm hitting it, I'm hitting it, I'm hitting it. And bam, you hit a wall. And that wall mentally says, no more. And then you fuck it up. And at that moment, you shifted your focus. And instead of going up, you go down. That's why you often see this. Like, let's look at this. How many times have you seen like projections of a company, or you've seen the company's progress? What does it look like? Does it look like this? No, it doesn't. What's it look like? It looks like this. The main reason it looks like this is because there's a pattern every time they hit this point. And what's the pattern? Growth can be linear. It can look like this. It looks like this because the pattern of the leadership or the pattern of the individuals is what? It's shifting. And these are the patterns that cause you to go in the opposite direction. Right? When we're betting on stocks, what are you betting? That the stock goes up or the stock goes down. That's what you're betting. It's either going to make money or not make money. That's how I bet. Well, why does the stock go up and down? Like we talk about insider trading. What's insider trading? You look at Nancy Pelosi. She has access to news before the news gets taken out, before everyone else gets to see it, right? So she will make some trades and then she'll go to Taiwan and talk to a chip company. And then all of a sudden she makes an extra $5 million. How? Well, psychology. The psychology around the belief in a stock will either make it go up or down. Some people who are the face of a stock, like Facebook this year, way down, right? Why? Why do things go up and down? Now, there's many reasons. You could say it's because the Federal Reserve is pumping all this money into these stocks and it's all inflated, which is true, and it's probably fake. Or you could say it's because psychology. It's probably both, right? If you guys remember, there was GameStop, right? GameStop was a stock that shouldn't have made that much money, but all of a sudden, the normal person, not these massive elite people at the top, started to make money. And everyone else who was betting against it, like all these super elite people, were pissed because they were losing a shit ton of money. To the point where they called their friends on Wall Street and they did some illegal shit and they stopped the stock from going up, right? They actually said, you know what? Instead of fucking this one person who's a billionaire, let's fuck all the small people who are actually investing in this and make them lose the money because they shouldn't have pumped this stock. It doesn't actually mean value. It's all perceived value because it's based on patterns. Your behavior is kind of like a stock. Is your stock going up or your stock going down? What event, what news in your life showed up that then caused your stock to go down? A breakup, you lost your job, you didn't close someone you were expecting to close. What news popped up in your life that caused your stock to go down? And that is where you lose. Because if you're so narrowly focused, you're like, oh, my stock went down here. Like, okay, would you invest in this stock? This stock right here? Give me a thumbs up if you would invest in this stock. Can you guys see it? Cool. Well, of course you would. But would you invest in this stock if this is all you saw? No. That's success. You'll go up, something will happen, you have to change your state somewhere along the line, and then you go up again. That's where persistence comes in. You must zoom out, right? When you're uncertain about a stock, for example, what do they tell you to do? They tell you to zoom out. Like if you go look at Facebook and Tesla and all this, and Disney, would you say that these stocks are bad? No, they're great stocks over a long time. Over a long time. The same thing with you. You can either give up or you can be persistent. Most people give up when they feel bad.